Hey folks, Pat here from DNS, and this Madison area fishing report is current as of Friday, October 3rd. Well, happy Friday, everybody. We made it through another week, and gosh, we made it through another month. I cannot believe how fast September went by. Here we are in October, and it feels like July. So we do have a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll just get right into it here. Some folks asked me to promote this event. It's a Learn to Fish clinic called Luke's Learn to Fish Clinic. It's going to be held Sunday, October 12th from noon to 2 down at Wingra Park. So that's right on Lake Wingra, just off Monroe Street there. And this is a benefit to the Luke Diebel Memorial Fund. So Luke was a young guy, 7 years old, died last year, tragic situation there. And he loved to fish, and so they thought they'd set up this event to kind of honor him. And yeah, it looks like a great event. You can go there and you can learn beginner fishing techniques just with a stick pole, traditional fishing, and they even have fly fishing stuff that you can learn down there, and a bunch of other activities that looks like a good time. They got some baked items, popcorn. They're gonna have food for sale, and like I said, it's a fundraiser for Luke's Memorial Fund. So looks like a cool event. Check it out. And yeah, my condolences to the family. It's obviously never easy losing a child. So this looks like a great way to honor him, though, and I'm sure he would be very happy about it. So check it out, Sunday the 12th, noon to 2 at Winger Park. We're going to be talking about the salmon run here in the report. Usually this time of year I go over some different resources, to kind of monitor what's going on out there. The Thiensville Fish Camera has been off for a couple weeks. It's usually a really cool resource. You can watch fish swimming by. It's an underwater camera they have there, and we keep it on the shop here at the shop all the time. And it's been down, so hopefully they get that back up soon. And of course, you can look online. There's Facebook groups and stuff like that to keep tabs on what's going on. There's also the DNR Root River report. So they have their Root River steelhead facility where they collect fish and collect the eggs and then fertilize them and use those for stocking. But they do have totals that they post, I think, every Thursday. So this was yesterday. They posted what they've had come through here so far. And it's always interesting just to keep a tab. They got a few steelhead. The kings look a little bit low. The cohos are coming through pretty strong. And then a couple other fish. And we're still very early in the run right now. So we'll see those numbers come up. I feel like it's usually the kings that come in first, and the cohos are kind of right behind them. But it looks like things have kind of switched around, and I'll talk about it more in the report. But we just need some water and some cooler weather, and we will get fish pushing up there real, real hard. So speaking of salmon, we got all kinds of stuff here to get you out on the water and get into those fish. We got a good selection of beads. We got soft beads, hard beads, pegs, floats. We got flies, traditional egg patterns, egg-sucking leeches, buggy nymph looking things, and of course a bunch of spinning gear. So no matter how you do it, swing by the shop and get over there and check it out. It's a super cool time seeing all those very impressive fish running up the rivers. And I don't have any musky suckers as I'm recording this, but my guy is supposed to be bringing some in today, so we hopefully will have some musky suckers in stock. On the door out front, let's see, we got the blood drive going on. Oh, that happened last Tuesday, so that's not happening anymore. Little skate park project I've been working on for a long time, and then the Read to a Dog event over at the Lakeview Library tomorrow, the 4th, 1 to 3 p.m. So if you have an event you'd like to promote, especially if it's fishing related, swing by and drop off a poster. We're happy to put those up. I guess we can get into the report. I guess before we do, there is one tournament going on, the Midwest 2025 Midwest College Shootout. So this is a Wisconsin fishing team, and all the different kind of Big Ten colleges come in and compete in this event. They're going to be hosting that on Lake Monona and Wabisa. They are launching out of Olin Park tomorrow. So it's only 20 boats, so it's not the biggest tournament in the world, but you might see a few more trailers on there. So good luck to everybody in that tournament, especially the guys from the UW fishing team. Otherwise, yeah. As far as the report goes, weather-wise, the heat wave just continues here. It was hot last weekend with temps in the 80s, and then all week we pretty much kind of hovered in that range. Today and tomorrow are going to be very warm with temps forecasted like 88, I think I saw both days. Looks like some rain moves in Monday, though, and next week looks like some more seasonable temps with highs in the 60s, so I know I'll be looking forward to that. The Mendota buoy, let's see, is reading 70.3 degrees right now. I think that's exactly where we were this time last week, so the cool nights are keeping things steady as far as temps go, but I feel like the temps should be a little bit lower than that for this time of year. But soon enough, we'll be complaining about the cold, I'm sure. As far as water quality goes on the Madison Chain, again, I just have word of mouth to go off of, but it sounds like Lake Mendota's in great shape. Lake Monona, it has a little bit of green to it, but it's much, much better than it was a week or two ago. Wabisa is also a little bit green. Sounds like Kegonsa's the greenest on the chain, which is usual. But all the lakes are fishable. It sounded like Wabisa had like a foot or two of visibility yesterday. I'm not exactly sure about Kegonsa, but yeah, we're in a lot better shape than we were a couple weeks ago. And once this cool and rain moves in next week, I don't think we'll have to worry about algae for the rest of the year. Generally, though, as far as fishing goes, you'd normally have a lot changing, and we'd be talking about maybe fish moving shallower and stuff like that. That just really hasn't happened with this heat. I feel like we're still in a summer pattern, but like I said, soon enough, all that's going to be changing. Although the weeds are starting to die back, they are still pretty thick in many shallow areas around town. So shore fishing for panfish can be a bit of a challenge. If you can find pockets in the weeds or places where the weed cutters have been through, you can definitely still find fish. If you're in a boat, fishing the outside weed edge is good for most species of fish, but especially bluegills, although they are also still being found. A few suspended over deep water and on midlake humps, weed edges out there in good numbers. For gills, any spikes, waxworms on an ice jig, or redworms on a little bit bigger jig work well. You might run into a crappie or two on a weed edge. If you're targeting crappies, crappie minnows, or a small minnow-shaped plastic on a jig under a bobber is a pretty safe bet. The perch front remains quiet. I do hear about a few fish being picked up here and there, but for the most part, it hasn't been anything consistent or overly impressive. But redworms sound like they're working best, and weed lines are a good place to start. Largemouth bass anglers have been doing well up shallow with any number of presentations, but again, with the weeds being thick, weedless plastics and topwater frogs are going to be your best bet there. As we talk about game fish here, we are starting to transition from crawlers to minnows with large fatheads and blacktail chubs working well for smallmouth bass and walleye. Smallmouth are being found up shallow early and late in the day, but tend to hang out in cooler, deeper, rocky areas like on a hot, sunny day like today. There again, any number of slower plastic presentations will work, but drop shotting, slip bobbering, or jigging a fathead minnow or a blacktail chub or a crawler can be super effective. For walleye, the bite around town continues to get better. Fishing from shore continues to be tough, though, with the warm water and the fish still hanging out deep. But I have heard about a few fish being picked up at night off some of the break walls. If you're in a boat, though, work weed lines on rocky shoreline breaks near shallow flats during the day. Move up on those shallow flats when it gets dark. Otherwise, working weed edges or right in the weeds on these sunny days on mid-lake humps has also been very effective. And don't be afraid to move out a little bit deeper off the weed line because, those fish are just trying to get out of the sun like people. But it sounds like folks are still trolling crawler harnesses and getting fish, but the floating weeds that are around are causing some headaches there. No matter where you fish, for walleyes on the live bait side of things, night crawlers, like I said, are still working, but we are switching, seeing a transition towards minnows. If it's pike you're after, they'll grab just about any lure you throw at them, and our large shiners or pike suckers are a great choice. And weed lines are your best bet to look for pike. The muskie action has been better now that the water's cleared up, but I haven't heard about a lot of folks getting out. The heat has a lot to do with it, but water temps I think are in pretty good shape. I heard Monona was like 74 or something yesterday, so we're still within that safe zone to fish for muskies. And once this cool weather comes on, then it's going to be full on muskie time around the chain. As for trout, area creeks are in good shape, but the trout are definitely looking up for hoppers, and there are just 13 days left in the season, so really got to get out there and enjoy it. And I'll talk more about trout for my Happy Fly Day feature at the end of the report. As far as a little more detail here, up in Cherokee, still a weedy mess up there, although the weeds are starting to come down. I drove by the other day and it wasn't looking as bad, but a topwater frog or weedless plastic is probably going to be your best bet. If you can launch at the school road launch, you can get a small boat out in the main channel up there and have better casting for bass if you can keep the pike off your line, and of course panfish. The 113 bridge had a nice mixed bag of panfish, mostly bluegills and some decent sized ones, but I hear about perch and some crappie being picked up. And of course you hear about bass, walleye, and pike occasionally, and the occasional catfish, but for the most part, the catfish have moved out into Lake Monona just like they've been basically all summer, just kind of cruising around. You hear about them here and there. And they are gigantic. As far as other fish go, weed lines on Mendota are really your best bet. So find a weed line, you're probably going to find fish, smallmouth walleye, and especially bluegills. But I'm also hearing about bluegills still out on mid-lake humps, so places like Dunn's Bar, Brearley Bars, Second Point, Commodore, stuff like that have all been holding gills all summer, and they will into the fall. And some really nice ones. But you'll also find walleyes out there, and maybe smallmouth along rocky shoreline breaks. Pike are pretty much everywhere. I'd focus on weed edges, like I said. And over here to Tenney Park, Breakwall, it's been a nice mixed bag of fish. Still some gar hanging out around there. People love telling me about gar, just because they're such a cool fish. And, it's not something you see every day. But they are getting some walleyes, like I said, at night. And smallmouth during the day, maybe some panfish. Panfish below the locks here, too, in the river. Fish under these bridges during sunny days. Fish like to get out of the sun there. But fishing up at the locks has been spotty. Definitely depends on the day. They could be in there or not. Otherwise, the outlet here where the Yahar River dumps into Lake Monona usually holds some fish. Otherwise, on Lake Monona itself, again, weed lines are going to be where you're going to want to look. Bluegill remain the star of the show, as always, on Lake Monona. But also midlake humps for gills. So you got like the rock bar down here, midlake bar, have been also holding fish. Bluegills off the Monona Terrace wall during the day have been good, and pretty good sized ones from what I hear. They're getting a few crappies as the sun starts to go down, and a few walleyes after dark over there. Otherwise, bluegills in Monona Bay, where they've had a weed cutter in there all season, give you a little more weed-free fishing. Lake Winger's got a bunch of weeds in there right now, but I do hear they're getting better. And a lot of tiny bluegills, some good bass. Musky fishing is going to be difficult with all those weeds. Otherwise, as far as Lake Monona walleyes go, I haven't really heard much other than like a few being picked up off the Monona Terrace wall. Those fish will start to move in shallow once we get a little bit cooler water here. Heard about some fish in weed pockets and weed edges at Turville Bay and Weechawak Bay. Down on Upper Mud, I heard some good action at the dredge hole. Over here on the weed edges for panfish, and even some suspended out there. Decent bass action in the shallows surrounding that. Same thing though on Wabisa. As far as gills go, you find a weed edge, you'll probably find fish. You can also find them on midlake humps down here. Got the rock pile or rock bar or rock pile down there, and some other stuff down here along the south shoreline. They have been getting some walleyes in the Babcock Bible Camp area down here, where in those nice steep breaks, and a few I've heard off Hog Island. And a few perch around, but nothing very consistent, and a couple crappies here and there. Muskies, I haven't really heard much off Wabisa specifically, but again, it's just got to cool down a little bit, and we will have some great muskie fishing ahead. Down on Kegonsa, still kind of green, like I said in the intro, the greenest lake on the chain, but they are still getting fish on weed edges. White bass, I talked to a guy who's been going down there, hitting some really nice white bass, 15, 16 inchers suspended, out just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. If you can find seagulls, chasing bait, then you'll probably find white bass underneath them. Otherwise, I did hear, I think, just one report of somebody that got into some walleyes off the state park over there. As far as other things in the area go, haven't heard much off the Indian Ford Dam. It sounds like on Koshkonong they're still getting walleyes and white bass in pretty good numbers, mostly trolling out there. Heard about some crappies and white bass still in the Fort Atkinson area in the river itself, and then up to Jefferson Dam. The catfish bite remains good up there. I did have a guy come in, he showed me a picture of it, really nice. I think he said it was like 25 or 30 pounds, I can't remember. Big flathead that he caught, beautiful fish out of there. So otherwise, if you want eater catfish, Beaver Dam's the place to go. They've been getting all summer. They're just loaded with catfish up there, and they're a good eater size, 18 to 20, maybe 22 inches. Otherwise, haven't heard much off Devil's Lake in a while, although the trout are probably still suspended out there. They'll move in shallow as we get into fall. Otherwise, the river flows are low right now, but that's typical this time of year. Makes for some great wading, some awesome canoeing when you don't have to deal with all the other recreational boaters out there. And you can float down the river, hit sandbars. Downstream side of sandbars is where you're just looking for deeper water. So downstream side of sandbars, downstream of bridges where the pylons go into the water, outside corners, you're going to have a little bit deeper water. Look for bass in wood along shoreline too, can be great. But otherwise, if you're looking to just fish the river and you want to catch a nice mixed bag of fish, fish the dams. Prairie du Sac dams had a lot of fish coming off there. I see catfish, I see sturgeon, I see a little bit of everything, and that's what's nice about a river, and that's what's great about dams. They tend to concentrate those fish. So, and sturgeon season, by the way, is closed now. You can still fish for them, you just can't keep them. Lake Wisconsin, I hear, has been pretty slow lately. Talked to a couple people, and the walleye have just been pretty tight-lipped. A few panfish hanging out in shallow bays still, but even that bite's been kind of off. So hopefully that picks up here pretty soon. And then, the stretch between Portage and the Dells, great smallmouth water in there. Some good action at the Dells Dam, Castle Rock Dam, and Peatwell Dam. So always a nice mixed bag of fish at dams. The Mississippi River is running a little bit low. I don't talk to a ton of people that go over there, other than a few people that hit the barges. I heard the Clements barge. I've followed them on Facebook. They've been getting some nice walleyes out there off the dam over there by Genoa. So I got that going on. Otherwise, yeah, it's we're getting right into salmon season over here in the Milwaukee area. They are still getting some fish out in the harbor. And some fish, I saw some reports of some fish under the Hone Bridge. So they're kind of staging in this deeper, slower water up here. Like I said in the intro, with the steelhead facility on the Root River just south of here, the fish are starting to move up. It sounds like cohos are moving up. The kings haven't quite made it yet, but soon, like I said, maybe we get this rain come in on Monday, a little cooler temps. Those fish are just going to start pushing up the river like mad, and it's always a great time. So, like I said, we got all kinds of stuff in stock here to get over and check that out. So, I'll keep you posted as best I can. You know, I love going over there, fish with my boys, and it's a good time. And then right behind them, you got steelhead, and you got brown trout moving in, and then it's great all the way up until it's too icy to fish, and then again in the spring. So, awesome time of year to be fishing the East Coast, all up and down the East Coast. It's great. I think that pretty much does it for that. We can get into our Happy Fly Day report. Like I said, we only got 13 days left in the season, so make sure you get out there, make some plans to get out on the water. I've been trying to get out as much as I can, and I've been having some great days. I made a post just Wednesday, I think, yeah, Wednesday night about some great day I had on hopper fishing. Hoppers have been great. You can, use any number of flies. Nymphs always work. Woolly buggers always work if the fish don't happen to be looking up. Or you can, do droppers off hoppers with some of those nymphs and stuff. Otherwise, I have been seeing some hatches, mostly in the evenings. Mayflies and caddis coming off. I guess I did see a couple hatches and fish rising in the middle of the day too. So as we get into fall, you'll see more of those. And if it ever gets cold enough to kill off the hoppers, this will be about our only option. But for now, there's lots of hoppers out there still. There's also terrestrials. Ants can be super effective, crickets and beetles. But for my money, I'm running hoppers right now. So swing in the shop, stock up on hoppers. It's a great time of year to be out there. If you fish rivers, you got great smallmouth bite going on. You watch those fish. Kyle from Black Earth Angling Company calls it the crash, and that you got schools of smallmouth chasing around big schools of shad and stuff like that. You see those fish bust on the top. You throw a fly in there, you're almost guaranteed to get hit. And we got some great stuff here from Aztec Fly Company. Ben Lipchansky ties these awesome Murdich minnows, crease minnows, and other things. And then we got big meaty stuff too here. So if you want to chase some bigger game, swing by and grab some flies that way. But yeah, if you're fishing spinning gear, husky jerks. If I fish a little bit bigger stuff right now, those fish are bulking up for the spawn. They're looking for a big, easy meal. So don't be afraid to throw, husky jerks and panther martins, stuff like that. Worms definitely still work. Run those through runs and tail outs, and you'll almost be guaranteed fish that way. But yeah, love the fall. 13 days left in the season. Make sure you get out there and enjoy it. That pretty much does it for the report. I do appreciate you tuning in. Do post your comments and catches below. We'd love to see that. Do feel free to call the shop at 241-4225 if you'd like us to expand on anything. And yeah, get out there. It's going to be warm this weekend, but enjoy the weather, and we will talk to you next week. Take care.